Hunt 919, Truth to Sports. Ride with me. Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919, Truth to Sports, coming to you with another segment. This is a segment that I'm doing. I'm interviewing a guy that does one of my favorite YouTube channels titled The Women's Basketball Alliance. It started in 2022. He has over 14 million views. He's right at 23,000 subscribers, which is great. That's huge to me. So I want to go ahead and get right into it. Can you please introduce yourself to my audience, and then we'll get into the questions?
Will Hunt, it's good to be with you. My name is Bryant Johnson. I've worked in athletic departments in my past life, but this post Alston versus NCAA world has opened up a lot of opportunities to power the next generation of highlights and digital portfolios for athletes. So the channel has been an extension of the NIL ruling, as it's known.
Yep.
But it was really the Alston versus NCAA case that was settled. It didn't mention NIL, but opened the door for unlimited education benefits to be a tagline with athletes. And I believe this is what unlimited education benefits look like. That you've got your legacy protected, archived, and always bookmarked. It's always accessible. Here's what you did when you did it. And none of that should ever be erased, but it should always be accessible. If it helps you with a future job, a brand deal, anything, you've already done the work, and it should always be one click away.
That's very well said. So let me ask you this. With all of the archiving that you do, have you ever had a player to reach out to you to use some of your footage for their benefit?
All the time. And that's actually the intent of the channel. Players and coaches provided the initial access and created a coach's account and administrative account focused on player development. And that account is with their internal video footage that captures every clip of every game of all time. And within that system, I'm able to focus just on player development. Player spotlight videos that we've done that it's not just the field goals you made in a game. If it was 21, 12, 6, 3, and 2, well, we're going to squish that into 5 minutes. So the pregame starting lineup to the final horn and the team's win, that's part of the story. That's squeezed out of those 5 minutes. So the storyboard is what allowed the access to become more than just individual videos. Where we grew up and kind of grew out of that one singular phase to, well, let's lead this to a place where fans can now find new players, new teams, new interests. We've protected the players and their development, but let's take it to a place where the game can grow along with their reputation. There isn't a central platform based on, here's how you can evaluate all of these players based on their career highlights and then make a decision. So the channel is that first step. And it's for international scouts. It's been a big hit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So a lot of the things we've done is with international scouts who have stepped in and said, okay, you've made our job in Turkey and Greece and France a lot easier. And since the NIL ruling, there's been a rush of international players recognizing that a year or two in the States, or like Georgia Amor, forever, stay as long as you can. And you will be blessed beyond your wildest imagination. So there's some amazing things in the pipeline where international players are able to get 6 figures. But instead of some of the top European prospects trying to go play professional, they're going to go play college basketball. And that speaks to the larger NIL split we're seeing between men's basketball and women's basketball. I'm not surprised, but to see it on a graph going into the year, out of the 100% of NIL revenue, the sponsorship money, men's basketball accounts for 10%. With all, of course, being the lion's share. Women's basketball was at 11% going into the year.
Nobody knows that. That's very good information.
It's on your screen right now whenever you air this. You know, I know we don't have for our conversation, but bing, you know, the graph's going to pop up and you're going to see the Forbes article. But it's more than the Cavenders. It's more than what we think that equals. I'm watching the tax commercial and Clara Strack from Kentucky.
There's
a men's player, but sorry, I don't even know his name. I see Sonia Citron in a commercial with Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Munn.
Yes. And I don't mean to get into your finances. That's not my business, but you can answer how you want to answer it. So how does that break down? Because you was telling me how the money goes to different places. How does that break down to your channel? What are you able to collect? Because you are serving a service to a lot of people like myself who
Yeah.
love women's basketball. You break it down, forget all the commercials to just the game. How you have to be rewarded in some way.
What the channel is meant to do is get the players paid. The ad revenue is meant
That's
to
very unselfish on your part,
no,
man.
because we've got an education platform that we will be fine. We're going to be fine because the education platform says every athlete deserves an executive portfolio with these new with these new tools. So from what we have discovered, that's a lucrative and very powerful path. But to get there, you have to have something that says, this is the hub, this is the energy source. And from this hub, what if the players on the active roster split the ad revenue? The LSU Tennessee that has 150,000 views that made $7,000. What if that split 3,500 between Tennessee and LSU? So maybe only $250 per player. But at the end of the year, when those checks are sent out to each player, they would be thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's what the players are allowed to claim from highlights. This has been adjudicated. The NCAA has said players can use highlights for NIL. The players sign a license release to use their highlights, and they would be able to cash in. But it's part of, this is the future we just need to start talking about, because it opens the door, one, for us to have a larger education platform where education benefits are what NIL is driven by. But then all the other sports that actually have this type of accessibility to highlights, and fans that have said, this is how we want to consume digital. We don't have time to watch all the games.
Right.
Then you have a deeper aha where it's not about how we started. It's, well, how do we work together to drive this solution? So this is what NIL means to women's basketball. They know that their story is being crystallized and petrified in real time, and they can just collect the check, just focus on the game.
Right.
My name is Ifunanya Nwachukwu. Ifunanya Nwachukwu.
Put the kicker hits the game-winning kick. The QR code should pop up on your screen to his Cash App.
For an Aggie upset win, and it's good. He got it.
It comes from a place where they have one moment and capture people when they want to show Molly Davis some love, when they want to show Monica Cesano some love. Caitlin brought a lot of attention, and she's still getting those players coverage, but that's how we can lift up all boats in this process, where the games are going to get better. And that's what I'm here for. I'm very selfish with my interest. I love basketball. I want to see the best basketball. It's going to get better. The players coming here, and all these small schools that have a plan and they've got an international pipeline we don't know about. And where did this come from? But I can't wait. Stephen Curry is now a GM overseeing Davidson women's basketball as well. I don't know what that means. Can't wait to find out.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Here, your highlights are taken care of, your career story is taken care of, and it's always archived and one click away.
Okay. Everything you said is great, especially coming from an ex-player, because you're basically creating a resume for a person, a high-level resume. I know portfolio is the word, but it's a high-level resume that they can send around and get themselves noticed and get themselves jobs, okay? And I don't mean to sound this way, because I'm not a selfish person. You're definitely not a selfish person, but you are human, right? You do need finances to do what you do. So you haven't figured out a way to get a percentage of that, because you are putting out a lot of information for these players, which is going to come back to money and cash for them, right?
But I do, so the channels.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
What it leads to is the portfolios are $99.
That's a good price, by the way.
So they fill out like the college admission form, but the point is, the first page that we always have is the team page. So if you're leaving out the backup because you didn't make this affordable to them, and the backup is going to bloom down the road, then
Right.
you don't. This is just another soccer remix. Costs $7,000 to play soccer in this country a
Right.
year.
Right.
No wonder we lose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But you keep saying we, because one of the let me tell you how important your editing is. Okay, so I can put you into perspective of a person who watches your channel. I wanted to go to the Virginia game, the Virginia versus North Carolina, when they played at North Carolina. Okay,
Yeah.
I was out of town. I couldn't get back in time to watch that game. Right. So the next thing I thought, I know the Women's Alliance is going to have that game. Okay. Well, you didn't put it up as, this is just me being selfish. You didn't put it up as quick as I wanted you to. Right. So I sent you a joke in the comments saying, yeah, something I said is about time, but you knew obviously I was joking. I made sure So my point is your editing is very important, because once you release that game, during my lunch, I watched that game. And I caught up with what happened, because I didn't know Carolina was up 1 minute. Then I looked at the end of the game, they lost it. So your editing is I like the way you put it, because our attention is not taken away from the game. You watch it and then the game's over with, and you can go on and do something else. So I appreciate the way that you edit. Now you keep saying we. Do you have a staff that you work with?
No, but to make this
I didn't
happen,
think you
I
did.
have to have support from the coaches and players who are
Okay.
backing the vision. I don't have a boss. I'm never going to be anybody's boss. That's not what 2025 is about. Silicon Valley has made that clear. So whatever happens next is going to be, oh, you like women's basketball too? Well, we're going to work together and make sure it's more accessible and it is cool. Yay.
Right.
It's clear you can work with coaches and players differently now. I can't come in and say it's my team and here's our vision, because we are an extension of the team now. We're an extension of the players.
You are.
Of the brand. So it's as spiritual as you can get from that sense of what it means to just, here's what we want, and you're going to be able to do that. And please do this the right way, because we're all doing something that hasn't been done before. Right. So that sensitivity is why I say we, knowing that I couldn't access this footage if I didn't have coaches that trust in the vision.
Right.
So right now, the point of this is they have given so much trust in me that I never knew was possible.
Right.
In the pre-2021 world, because you were only allowed to work with the team you worked for.
Right.
The intellectual property that defines a player's career.
Right.
The only way forward was to hook up the player with something that they deserve, which is a career highlight video, but to then make the games accessible for new fans that were ready for this kind of access to Angel Reese's highlights.
Right.
So that's the twofer that is just the timing of this moment. That women's basketball blew up right when there was this trust balloon that had been cast.
Absolutely.
And just holding on to it, it's like, we're still going higher, guys. I can't believe this here. When the videos get 6 figures over and over, and people are watching 15 minutes on average of a 25 to 30 minute video, it shows you that there is something in this digital space.
Absolutely.
That leads to an inherent interest in watching game after game. So you know what the dream would be in that regard. Just have the channel that's 24/7 of the 25 to 30 minute of all the recap games. And the channel's just condensed games, 2 an hour. Now every game gets this treatment. And then the best can air in that 24-hour window. But give people a women's basketball channel that is just for the game highlights.
Okay, you're very nice. You push the attention away from yourself. So you telling me you're a one-man operation right now?
Yeah. So I wake up. Typically, I do this before I start anything else. So I do it 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then I go to work.
And then you go to work for 9 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
Because this morning you dropped a and I wanted to thank you for this, by the way, because my daughter goes to Howard. Okay.
Oh,
and
nice.
And you just dropped the video with the well, I had it written down because it came late because I was working.
Yeah, the Norfolk game.
No, yes. And I appreciate
Chadwick Boseman's his speech at Howard.
Really?
Yeah, that's the most powerful speech. One of the most powerful.
We got to talk about that. But you released that game today, and I was proud to see that you released the HBCU game. And of course, as soon as me and you finish, I'm going to watch that. And one of the reasons I was joking with you in the comments was because The reason I was saying I went to the release from quicker, half of it was joking, of course.
I know.
I was under the impression that this was a staff of
I
people.
know. I've created that illusion because I didn't think
Yes, you have.
I didn't think it'd be 2025 and we would be wrestling with some of these things. But there just hasn't been a connection between what the teams and the coaches want and what the athletic department will authorize. That's
Okay.
been the biggest revelation, is that teams and coaches can say we want to do this, but the athletic department still consider this NIL. And
Why do they? I mean, because I want my audience to be educated.
Mhm.
Why do they consider it NIL, especially if you're not getting a percentage of the money? So why is this? Why do
Any
they
third
consider?
party working in this capacity is considered
Okay,
NIL, and they cannot
really?
imagine a trusted third party yet, even though that's what college sports is built on. That's why Nike and Adidas and Under Armour exist, to
Okay,
create an extension of your brand through
right.
another third party. But that's something that has never existed in the visual story space, where
Okay,
you're working with somebody independent of your program to tell a deeper story for your program. You've got
right.
a department for that. You got the communications department.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
So
Okay.
there's just a disconnect between the coaches are saying our guys don't have resumes, our women don't. But the
Right.
commitment, certainly was the thing that I knew was going to be the requirement. That if I'm going to do this, it can't be a hobby. It's got to show that we can do this. It may take some time to get the collective support, but now that you know how it's done, why wouldn't we have a 25 to 30 minute condensed game highlight for every game, every night? Why
Well,
wouldn't you
this
want
is
to
what's been.
and click on the schedule on their website? You click on the box score and the videos embedded, but for every game. The first few videos I made were based on what people were Googling for and YouTubing that wasn't out there. And that was the revelation. On my personal account, on my Bryant Johnson,
Right.
there's a Paige Beckers video from 2021 with 10,000 views. That was the first experiment of she had a really nice game and I couldn't find the video anywhere. And I thought, well, let me just see my channel. That's how many people. So that almost troubled me that
Right.
people can't get the Paige Beckers highlights they want. And then I realized nobody was doing Caitlin Clark full game highlights. So it was more about proving a point that, well, the fans seem to know what they want. What if we just give it to them?
But and that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. And I'm gonna ask you this question, and you may be too humble to answer it. But do you think that some of these schools, I don't want to use the word embarrassed, but it is what it is, for a lack of a better word. Do you think that they're embarrassed that you're providing a service that they actually have a whole team of people that do these type of things at their schools, but they're coming to you for your work. They're coming to you for your videos, for your slices and the things that you're doing. Do you think that plays a part in how some of them deal with you?
For now, but it won't in the future when they realize this is to make their job easier. So there is a
Okay.
different way to engage in the alumni base, in your donor base, in your fan base. These are the hardest working people in college athletics. The videographer.
Yeah, that's why I asked you that question. That's
Yeah.
right.
So of
That's
course
right.
that's part of it. That right now, but we haven't flipped the dynamic where this isn't a mine. You cannot control human beings. A lot of people tried to. We had a whole
Okay.
system built on control in college athletics. That's over.
Okay.
We're letting athletes bloom, but we're professionally protecting them. They've got a path. They need to know how the world works differently. There's a different mentor structure in place. It's great. But that means you have to work with outside partners differently. That's the problem. Colleges never had to do that. So we're trying to show that if you have all these athletes, but their bio page just shows their stats,
That's all they show. Some of them are blank now. Some of them are
blank.
even blank now.
Or they delete them when they enter the transfer portal.
I didn't think about it. Okay.
It erases a kid's history from the internet. That's how petty it is.
So is that why a lot of those bios are blank now, because of the transferring?
I want you to, anytime you see one, do me a favor, make note of it. Because that's part of why the transfer, why all of this is being built, because these coaches are so lucky they don't have to address for their actions. They don't have to account for their actions. If people knew that when a player enters the transfer portal, that a coach calls the sports information director and says, delete that player from the roster, They'd be
Wow.
furious. They
I
know you
didn't
don't
know that.
delete the records. You can't delete their stats. But if you
I didn't
Google
know
the
that.
kid, then you get the 404 URL doesn't work page when you click on the roster name. So what does that look like for the international scout, for the person trying to invest in that player?
Wow.
And they're like, okay, you played where? Yeah, delete, liar. Because that's the first result. So that's the part with the athletic department. Let us breathe some life into the player's story so you can match that with donors, with opportunities. If you graduate and you wake up
Mhm.
and feel like there's nothing that you've brought with you to that moment,
Right.
and you go online and feel like, okay, I know I spent 4 years playing here, but where is that story told? But
Right.
as we've seen from the Rich Pauls of the world, if that's built in to your basketball brain or your athletic brain, you realize that the whole world is your oyster. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
most people playing sports, you start, you're in it, and then you come up for air at some point.
Yes. And you
There
just
isn't something
released.
protecting you. You're
That's
just going
right.
to look down and go, what next?
Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna tell you how smart you are. I talk about some of that on my channel with some of my segments. One of my biggest segments was Kamarni McLean that played at Colorado with
Yeah.
Coach Prime. One of
Yes.
the things I did that blew up for me was I talked about things from his point of view as an athlete, coming from where he's from, Florida, moving to Colorado, things he could be thinking, things that, most people don't think about, basically what an athlete could be, going through. Depression, he's not at home. Depression that he's playing with people just as good as him now. Depression of all the media attention that's talking negative about him. Even when they talked about the offensive line at Colorado, I talked about things from the Colorado offensive line point of view. We don't think about the players mentally, so that could be something maybe you talk about at another time, because it's very important to me. And I also do segments that blew up for me, like ex Colorado Buffs. What are they doing now? Like I have one guy now that's playing semi-pro football in Washington D.C. So I did a follow up with him. So I do things like that because I care about players more than what they're doing on the field. It's things in between the practices, after the practices, the mental aspect of it, which is what you're talking about. And I appreciate that you care about them like that. Because you're right. Once you become an athlete, when it's over, if you don't go to the pro level, you just released on your own. You really are. I personally think it should be a class that they take, for all the guys who probably won't go pro. You need to take this class to prepare yourself for going into the real world without all this protection. When you go to prison and they release you, you're supposed to take they give you a class or something to take before you step out into the real world again. So
Yeah. And some do,
I love that you brought that up.
yeah. But you know that without technology as the solution, we got to depend on each school to do the right thing, and that's where I'm at. I'm
Right.
just not seeing it. I'm not seeing that athletes graduate with all these possibilities and they feel like there's one-click accessibility to their storyboard. It doesn't
Right.
matter how many opportunities to see the truth are presented to you until it hits you in that one true
Right.
moment. You don't know. And that one true moment, I want
Right.
the athletes to be able to push the panic button. And then this drop down appears as the
Mhm.
reminder. You've already done all the work, and here's what it looks like chronologically. I get to breathe again.
Right.
If not,
Right.
you're
Right.
starting over after you've put in the work. And when I see guys like Jason
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
the former Michigan quarterback, he's meditating before the Alabama win. I see the integration of wellness in a world that has been hostile to
Yes.
wellness for a long time. And that's the athlete's
Right.
path. These basketball players, how many of them have a breathing ritual before free throws now? It's great.
Right.
Juju, but
Right.
it's that you don't need to label that as East or West or Suedo anything.
Right.
She is calming herself in a way that is very
Right.
important for athletes with all these new distractions and opportunities. So if we can
Right.
celebrate what is wellness in the NIL era of
Right.
NCAA sports, then that's
Right.
the pairing that you're seeing, because the wellness component is, I like to hear what athletes are doing, mind, body, and spirit. I love hearing about whatever meditation is part of their day.
Me too.
Here's what they're doing with yoga. Now it all makes sense. And that visual story is what I'm drawn to. And that being the missing piece in a lot of this, that when the highlight videos also are overlaid with that B-roll of the player
Yeah.
meditating in the morning,
Right.
They know every ingredient that goes in their body. Well, we need to know that too.
Right.
But when it's presented by somebody you respect and they're not lecturing you that, hey, this is how you get ripped, this is how you can get fit, you just see that it's the way.
Right. Well said. Very well said. I want to talk next time we talk. Again, I want to go through how you came to be what you are. Okay, I'm gonna go through that step by step because I want my audience to know exactly who you are and where you started. I want to talk about the suicide or the mental aspect of the game again. So we're gonna talk again offline, and I'm gonna set up some more stuff with you. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate the information you're giving me. And hopefully you keep growing because it's a great channel. You really do have a very good channel, and I love what you're doing. And keep it up. I know it's hard for you, but people like me really do appreciate what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And this what it is. We'll close this out, and then we'll set up another time. But I appreciate your time that you gave me today. I really do.
Thank you, Will. I enjoyed it. Always fun to talk basketball with you.
It's been Hunt 919 Truth Sports. Ride with me.